Hello and welcome to the I've Seen Everything Reaction Wrap-Up. My name's Andrew and I'm glad to have you here with me. This is where I share my thoughts, rating, and review following my most recent reaction or watch-along video. To find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please be sure to click the follow button here on the podcast, and for those listening on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review would be greatly appreciated. And now, on to this episode's wrap-up for Season 1, Episode 1 of Doctor Who, entitled Space Babies. Okay, and that was Episode 1, what is now being called Season 1 of Doctor Who, Space Babies. Season 1, I guess, because it's the beginning of a new era of Doctor Who, but I digress. I think that was great. I think that was a really fun first episode. There's a lot of allusion to things coming up in the season. We're going to find out more about what's going on with Ruby and her mother. I'm sure he's saying he can't take her back to that night, but things are developing. By no stretch of the imagination do I imagine that we are done with Ruby and her mother and figuring out what's going on there. I don't think it's ultimately going to matter in the end. I don't see Ruby doing something where she leaves her adopted family behind, but addressing, I'm sure, that kind of peace of mind that adopted kids and orphans have when they do find a family, but they don't necessarily know about the family they came from and they want to know. There's a lot of these themes running through all kinds of different parts of what they're showing us so far. Themes of abandonment, themes of being an orphan, of being the only one of something, of not knowing exactly who you are, or kind of searching for yourself. The Doctor's going through a fair amount of that himself. He had that moment with the booger creature, the boogeyman, when the nanny was trying to kill him by letting him out of the airlock. That moment where he connected with it, and it being the only one of its kind as well. He couldn't bear to see. Well, I don't think he couldn't bear to see it die just because of that. He couldn't bear to see something like that suffer and needlessly die. It didn't really do anything as far as we know. It hadn't killed anybody or hadn't hurt anybody as far as we're aware. It had been scary. They didn't know what it was or what it was about, and they were afraid it was going to hurt them. But that creature had been created by the ship too, and was just kind of down there on its own for 6 years, from what we understand. So yeah, very much a Frankenstein's creature situation. People say Frankenstein's monster. That's another one where it's like, what do you expect if you bring something to life and then you abandon it and there's nowhere it can find in the world to exist? And you don't teach it anything. You don't teach it right from wrong or just anything, to speak, anything. So there is a lesson in there about responsibility to your own creations, at least in the Frankenstein story. In this, there's a little bit of that. She didn't create the creature, monster, what have you, just like she didn't create the babies. She felt a connection to the babies. She couldn't bear to leave them behind without someone to care for them. But she was willing to kind of abandon that creature down there. Now, she didn't know that the ship had created that creature. It was kind of odd when it comes to whether she knew about the creature or not, because the first reaction was, she said, "What's that?" Like she hadn't seen it before, which would be very strange to have not seen it before, given that they've all been on that space station for 6 years. I can't remember how long ago she said it was she got the cameras working, but that even when she said that part later on, she said, "I got the cameras working," and then there it was. Well, then you've seen it before, so what do you mean, what's that? I don't know. But Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor and Ruby together on here, or well, Millie Gibson as Ruby, they're just a great team. They really picked their doctor and their companion well. And I'm glad to hear that some of the stuff that you heard about happening on the set wasn't really necessarily true, as far as there was rumors of things weren't great because apparently Ruby was already leaving at the end of season 1. I think there was an assumption of that because there's another companion coming in. But now I think the understanding, if I'm remembering what I heard correctly, was if I'm remembering correctly, what I heard was that another companion comes in, but it's that companion and Ruby along with the Doctor. And I don't know if we've heard if Millie Gibson continues on to the next season or not. I know they're already shooting the next season, or maybe they're already done. I can't remember. I heard that they were way far ahead. But yeah, this was just kind of a simple story, but one that we see the Doctor wander into so many times about just a simple kind of odd problem, and then just kind of peeling back the layers of it and coming up with a solution. The space station farting itself toward the planet because the Doctor releases the methane in the compartment down there was pretty funny. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they end up next, and I'm looking forward to it. This is a very different feel than a lot of recent Doctor Who. This is a level of fun to the show that we haven't felt in a while, I think. Although I think Shudigatwa showed right there that he has the whole range of everything he needs for this show. He has the ability just to have the fun, the comedy, to go to the dark and dramatic places, because we saw a little bit of it there. I know that there's a lot of people out there that have probably seen him in other things. This is the first thing I've ever seen him in. I know that he's quickly becoming a big name and a person that people see in lots of different things. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to his run as the Doctor. I'm going to have to look at some of the other stuff he's been doing, because he just electrifies the screen as soon as he comes on there. He just kind of captures whatever scene he's in. He's great. And I haven't seen Millie Gibson in anything before either. I mean, this is the case with Doctor Who a lot of times for me, because I'm not as familiar with a lot of British actors. There are some that I've seen in other things because I have watched other British shows and things like that. But Doctor Who's introduced me to a lot of people, and then I'll watch something else and like, oh, I saw that person in Doctor Who. That was one of the selling points for me. I mean, I was going to watch it anyway, but when Sandman came out, Jenna Coleman and Sandman, sign me up. I'll sign up to watch Jenna Coleman do just about anything. I think she was great in that show. Doctor Who. I think she was great in Sandman too. Didn't get a lot of time in Sandman, but anyway, I have gone way off topic, but that's what happens sometimes. So anyway, getting the rating for episode 1 of season 1 of the new era of Doctor Who, Space Babies, I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars. I think this was a good episode. It was a good beginning to the season. Solid Doctor Who episode. I'm anxious to see what's coming. I appreciate you stopping by to watch this episode with me, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the I've Seen Everything reaction wrap-up. Again, to find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please consider following the podcast, and for those on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review are always appreciated. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll meet you here on the next episode.